Her background is nerd.
Darren should have gone to school here instead of Cutter, because you are a devil. I can tell you that right now.
She rolls in like she's a Hollywood movie star now. She just she's just here for the camera.
I guess I tooted.
No hard-hitting questions here.
Yeah, Shall we talk about my one-sentence resignation?
Welcome to the next episode of Spilling the Tea in Studio D. We are on the road again in beautiful downtown Melbourne, Arkansas.
Melbourne? Almost sounds like Malvern, where I'm from.
Yeah. To you, it probably does. But
Malvern,
that's because every conversation turns back to you somehow.
That's right. I know.
What I'm saying?
I know.
So it's not hard to believe.
I mean, what can I say?
It really was a beautiful day to drive up.
Yeah, super.
I've never been up here,
I haven't
obviously, this far.
Yeah.
And but we had great weather today. So outside the occasional restroom break that Candace must take. But,
one.
Yeah.
And listen. No. Katie and Michael, they can vouch for this.
Yeah.
That like the past few times you've been the one that's had to stop, not me.
Well,
so I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying.
I think it's just because we spend so much time in the car together, So anyway.
But I don't argue. If you got to stop, I'm like, yes, that sounds
good. Always stop.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching a tennis match.
It is 100%.
I know it's like your head's like.
Yeah, but if you want to get the win, you just lock in on Candace because it always goes back right there for sure.
I do love the setup we got here
too.
going at NorthCentral over here. I love this.
Yeah, and very honored and thankful that you guys had us up. We got Mark Gipson, Kathy Bowlin from Northwest up here.
NorthCentral.
I keep saying Northwest. NorthCentral.
And I just said NorthCentral.
I know.
Trying to help you out.
Definitely
see?
not
West. Yeah. We need to get away from this geographical stuff, and everybody just needs to have like us one name.
Yeah.
That way you can keep them in order. So.
Because
I know y'all get confused all the time, probably.
But if ours was called Melbourne, then they would all think it was Malvern. And
that's true. And they would think Candace was up here.
Yeah, I know.
So that's exactly where my thoughts go.
You're right, Kathy.
When I think of Malvern, I think of Candace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go Leopards.
Yeah, exactly.
Go Leopards.
Well, I did student teach there, so there's that. Can y'all believe we student taught at the same time? We really did.
Did you really?
True story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the same place?
Yeah.
Yes,
so,
Henderson State University.
The only difference is.
But he interned at Malvern.
Yep.
Not Melbourne. Mm-hmm. And I was at Magnet Cove. So.
Yeah.
But we had classes together.
And then we ended up basically at one point teaching together.
Yeah.
At Lakeside, and then. Let's see, Fountain Lake hired her as assistant principal, and so I'm a 3-time loser. I hired her again at the co-op.
You didn't learn your lesson.
I didn't.
Okay, Mark, you better watch it.
We'll
come after you too. Okay.
Moment of weakness, I guess. Well, let's just get started with you guys, and basically, we're doing the tour. It's the 40th year for co-ops, and it's hard to believe. I know I don't look like it, but that was my senior year in high school. Was the year that co-op started. So. Been around a while, but maybe kind of give us, on a personal standpoint, I'll throw this out to both of y'all, maybe your journey in education, how you started, what led you to this spot.
Want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been fortunate enough to be in this area of the state my entire career.
Gotcha.
I started off teaching at Cushman before the consolidation happened. I was a teacher there for 8 years, middle school teacher. Became the principal there and was principal for, I'm going to lose track, I think 4 years as principal. We annexed into Batesville.
Gotcha.
I moved to Cedar Ridge and was the principal at Cord Charlotte Elementary for a year. I'd actually graduated from Cord Charlotte, so went back home.
Oh, that's neat.
And was recruited by the Department of Education to become a school improvement specialist is what it was. But I was federal programs for all the years that I was principal, so it was ACSIP supervisor, school improvement supervisor. I was housed here when I did that, and I actually supervised all North Central and Northeast school districts. So 29 school districts is what I was in charge of. So have a lot of federal programs and state categorical experience. I was 2 doors down from the Teacher Center Coordinator office, and I was asked to apply for this job and applied for that. Was Teacher Center Coordinator for 13 years.
Wow.
And now I've moved into this role, and this is my second year that I'm in with this. So
Okay. That's pretty impressive journey as far as, being able to touch all the things, on your way up. So.
I think the best part of the journey was working at the Department of Education and seeing the rest of the state, because I think if you stay in your shell your entire career, you really don't know how things work across the state.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great couple years that I spent there. So anyway.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. I mean, we obviously we work hand in hand with the department, but on the other side sometimes, when you peel that on your back, I'm sure it does look a lot different,
It does. It made me realize that there aren't people up there in their offices trying to invent ways to make it hard on school districts.
Right, yeah.
They're very reactionary to the feds, to the U.S. Department of Education, like just as we are to them.
Right.
So,
Sure.
it's just a chain reaction.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, Kathy, what about you?
Mine is totally different. I started out my career not in education. I started out in radiology. And so I did that, and then I realized jobs were more on-call weekends, and so my parents were both educators. They did that their whole lives and retired from it, and they said, do not go into education. So I went into education.
Yeah.
But and like I'd never thought about it because they just told me not to. So I thought, okay, what can I go into where I know I'll get a job? And it was math because nobody
Right.
wanted to teach math. So I got a math degree and I taught high school math.
teachers. Yeah.
So I
that
taught
explains a lot.
Oh, yeah.
See?
I taught high school
Similar.
math at Greene County Tech in Paragould. And then my husband's a coach, and so he decided he wanted to try Northwest Arkansas. So we moved to Springdale, and we were at Harbor High School, and I taught math 1 year there, and then I was the instructional facilitator for math and science at Harbor.
Okay.
So that kind of started my perspective of seeing that everybody didn't do things like I did.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And then he decided to move to coach at Melbourne, so we moved to this area. And the only job available was at the co-op, and I knew nothing about a co-op, but anyway. So I was math specialist for a couple of years, and then COVID hit, and so we started a virtual school for 25 school districts. So I ran that as principal of that for 2 years, and then our districts just didn't need as much, and we transitioned them back. So I did some system stuff, PLC stuff for a year, and then this is my second year as assistant director.
Okay.
TCC.
Yeah. So your husband, is he still coaching at Melbourne?
He retired year before last. Then last year he assisted at Highland because they needed somebody for a new coach, but
Right.
now he's running an antique shop.
Yeah.
Hey.
Some days that sounds pretty good.
That's
I
it,
mean,
yeah.
He loves it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, so we talked about this type A,
Yeah.
not type A.
Yeah.
Well, and she's being modest too. She built a virtual school from the ground up, hired
Right.
the teachers,
Uh-huh.
built the policies, trained the teachers, did all of that, oversaw that. So she did an amazing job with that, and it just put her at the front of the line for
Yeah.
being promoted to what
Sure.
she's doing
Yeah,
now.
you were a great resource too for our virtual
Oh,
coordinator.
yeah.
Whenever
For sure. Yeah.
that was definitely a need. I mean, talk about roles
Yes.
of co-ops.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We
Fill
had
the needs when
almost
it arises.
300 kids in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was.
Yep.
Yeah, that was definitely a lesson or exercise in adaptation, right? I mean,
goodness,
you know,
yes.
rolling that out and I said this most days, I felt pretty good, probably say 6th grade on up. But man, watching those elementary teachers teach virtual, it was literally like herding cats. They were popping up, going here,
Yes.
and just blurting out. And
Well,
Yeah.
and I am so competitive about everything that, like, if my name's on this, we are not going to fail.
right,
So
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I was observing those classes, and we had
Yep.
meetings. I mean, if they weren't teaching, we were meeting, and we were trying to figure
Yep.
out what to do, and we were looking at data, and
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like herding cats. You had kids mooning the camera.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
And parents and grandparents that were.
and
Yeah.
parents and
Mooning the
grandparents
cameras,
that
yeah.
basically did the same thing.
Didn't know their cameras were on.
Uh-huh.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I think back on it now. I wish we would have really recorded or kept some of those
Oh, my
recordings because
goodness.
I mean,
Yeah.
numerous times somebody would parade through in their underwear
Yes.
or yell at another kid, and it was just you
Yeah.
know to really roll through that and come out on the other side. There were lots of, and really and truly, I say this in all honesty, you guys had the model program up here, just from the standpoint of, like you're saying, you guys were, I mean, y'all bought in early and saw the need to put somebody in charge of that, and I think everybody kind of followed suit, but not to the degree that you guys were doing it. But, man, thinking, I mean, that's one of those things you'd never think would happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
No.
every 100 years, huh?
And I think that's the
Every
mindset
100
we need.
years.
I think that's the mindset we need right now is that the co-op world is different than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we need to be constantly ready to
Yep.
monitor, adjust, build programs, do whatever our districts need,
Yeah.
and move in a direction, especially those directions that we're uncomfortable with.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And my folks know this. You know, they'll hear me say, "Okay, yeah, we got this. We'll do it," and I'll hang up, and they'll go, "What'd you get us into?" But again, it's really about. We were talking about that on the way up, just like with the third grade promotion thing, and how schools are somewhat scrambling and you know looking for just any kind of help they can get. I mean I mean that's what I love about our job is the ability to go out and help them find that if they don't have it, we're able to go and you know stretch out and find resources for them. And a lot of times that's other co-ops. Because
Yeah,
Yes.
or I mean, just make the connections. Like we had even an email thread going with curriculum cabinet. Had a member of our curriculum cabinet that was like, "Hey, this is a draft resource. You know, here's a link. If it's helped us a little bit, things may have changed since we've kind of looked at this, but just any kind of help like that. Just having those job-alike groups where they can bounce ideas off each other.
I think just a few months ago we had the curriculum that was pulled from the list, and it was like it was a Friday maybe.
Friday.
I
At
think
4
it was a
o'clock,
Friday at
wasn't
4
it?
o'clock or something.
yeah, that's
and
a popular time.
Yeah, well, I caught Kathy and our dyslexia person, and I said, send a calming email out to school districts so they don't go home
Yeah.
this weekend and worry about this all weekend. And they did, and it calmed everybody down. So I think that's
Yes.
also one of our roles is to say, we got you, we're there for you. Let's just take a breath.
Yeah.
Same.
Yes.
We were talking about the third grade promotion a while ago. I just think we need to. That's one of our main jobs.
Yeah, and you know we have the time and resources that school districts don't necessarily have within the day.
Absolutely.
Because we got in this discussion a little bit earlier today. It seems like you know as time marches on, we get further and further away from the kid as far as you know that direct contact, that direct instruction kind of thing. And I think it's our job to push in and make sure that we can help where we can and ease that burden so they can get back to that one-on-one with the kids. So.
I mean, because our schools are great. You know, you guys, y'all's are too. They're going to do what's best for kids.
Yes.
So
Right.
at the end of the day, you just document and do what's best for kids. You know, and we were giving y'all props earlier because Kathy and I were talking about how type A we are, and I was actually nice, Darren. I said, you know, I learned something from you, but seriously, you and Donald Westerman, Sue Schultz, like a lot of my mentors, I did learn that stay calm. Nothing has to be done this second, you know, because that's not my personality. So people that probably work with me now, because I think probably maybe like other TCCs or whatever are probably like, man, she's like super laid back. Not really, but I've learned it from people that, you know, God's put in my path, you know, to like you were saying with Mark too, because we kind of have,
He's taught me to
Yeah.
Yes.
chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And you need that.
but it
Yeah.
it comes with those experiences that we've had. You know, I mean, early on, I mean, you know, it was, you know, kind of human nature. You want somebody asks a question, you want to go out and find an answer right then.
Yes.
But here's the thing, you know, I've always said this. I mean, you can worry and know it's going to work out, or just know it's going to work out. I'm one of these. I know it's going to work out.
Yeah.
But you know, there are times it's okay to say, "Look, I don't know, but
Oh, yeah.
I'll find out, and we'll get back with
Yeah,
you."
yeah. Oh, yeah. I did that all the time. Yeah.
I do too.
She'll ask me a question at times, and I'll just give a blank stare, and she'll be like, "Well, was that a dumb question?" And I'll be like, "Well, no, I'm trying to think of all the ways that this could backfire.
Yeah.
How could this go wrong?"
Oh yeah,
Because you always want to play it out in your mind
yeah.
Yeah.
before you make a move on anything.
Yeah, and I think you guys would agree. A big part of the job we're in now is just you know, managing personalities of the different schools.
Yes.
And it, you know, some days just trying to anticipate what you may or may not get. And some, I mean, very few times are we surprised, but there have been times, you know, both ways that you would think this guy that's normally calm, I mean, is kind of losing his stuff, whatever. And again, you just got to
Yeah.
talk them through it. and
Having
then
a
on the
bad
other-
day or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
More than before. You know, we've done the John Maxwell book studies and worked through that process, and just you have to become the type of person that you know, just know more before everybody else does. You have to anticipate
Yeah.
what's going to
Yeah.
happen, and
Right.
you know, a lot of times you look at federal initiatives and state initiatives, and you kind of get to a point where you can read the tea leaves
Yeah.
and you can think something's up. It may be a year down the road.
Yeah.
And I've had Kathy come to me 6 months or a year later and say, "How did you know?
Yeah.
How did you know that was going to happen?" And just be, "Well, you know, you can just
You
see things
anticipate
dominoes.
which way it could go.
Yeah, dominoes start. And sometimes you're wrong,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
better to be conservative."
Yeah, usually I just say if you got trouble or got questions, call Candace. That's my out. you
Yes.
know, so
Exactly.
See, this is
Yeah.
why it works.
Yeah.
This is why it works. Two different
Yeah.
personalities. Okay.
And you need the type A.
Yeah,
You need those
yes,
people.
You do.
you-
Because I can be too laid back.
Uh-huh.
And there will be times Kathy will look at me and will say, "I need you to focus.
yeah.
yeah.
I need you to give me an answer."
Yeah.
And you know, I can settle in and give an
Yeah.
answer at that time.
Well, I think I'm such a big picture guy, you know. I like I say, and sometimes
So is he.
you know I kind of
Yes.
step out a little bit, but again, you know, that's what makes you know teamwork work.
Yeah.
Is you got to have that balance.
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Gerald, the former director here, kind of made fun of me, but he said, "You're like the you know, like the Jeremiah Johnson movie.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Oh yeah.
where he runs through the cabin with the grizzly following
Yeah.
him, and he says, 'Take care of this one, Pilgrim. I'll go find you another one,' and slams
Yeah.
the door shut."
Yeah.
He said, "That's how you are here, Mark. You run through here and you say,
Yeah.
okay, here's this. Here's a virtual
That is a
program.
great
I'm gonna go look for. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go look for something else for you."
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
a great analogy.
There's lots of those things, and you know,
That's awesome.
and some are, you know, aren't even you know making, you know, huge decisions. I mean, the podcast to me is a prime example. When I told Candace, she kind of looked at me cross-eyed and said, "What, me?" And,
Yeah, I was like,
but it's you know the sole purpose for us doing this is honestly is to get out and to show the great things that are happening in the state of Arkansas with our school districts, with our students, because you know, again, districts don't necessarily have time to do the great stuff, and that's what
Right.
we're trying to highlight. And
yeah, so good advice from, you know, just so people can learn something from the podcast is when you're hiring people, hire people that are a little bit different than you. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to have those
Yeah.
different
Look for the
personalities.
qualities that you don't
you
have.
Don't have, yeah,
That's
strengths
right.
and
And find
weaknesses.
those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, and you know that old adage, you hire good people and get out of the way. I heard somebody put a twist on it a couple years ago. He said, "We hire great people, and we make each other better." And I thought, man, there's
Yeah.
a lot of truth in that.
Yep.
And
Yes.
so,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I have no problem admitting when Candace is wrong.
Oh.
None
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm quick to do that. So, Which
I will admit when I'm wrong.
It's not that
I
often.
don't
He
like to,
doesn't.
but-
He
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
I have said she was right before.
Yeah.
I don't remember
right.
when the last time
Yes.
was, but I have.
If you're like me,
Listen.
I'll tell her she's right, but there's no witnesses.
So
right.
Darren was superintendent at Fountain Lake, and Donna Westerman, he had hired Donna Westerman as principal. So I interviewed for the assistant high school principal position. I'm in the interview, and he asked me a question, and he was like, it was a great interview. You know how you have really good vibes with everybody. And he said, okay, so let me ask you something. He's like, I don't remember exactly. Something like, gave me a scenario, said, on down the road, if you disagree with me, I'm like, well, I'll disagree with you in your office, but, I'll support you when I step out of there, whatever. He said, okay, but like 2 weeks later, if I'm wrong, he said, what are you going to do? I said, oh, I'm going to tell you I told you so. And one time I walked in, I was like, I told you so. But it was hysterical. Like, everybody laughed, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be mean about it. We'll joke
Right.
around, but
Darren
Yes.
bragged on you, so I'll brag on Kathy a little bit. When we interviewed her
Are you listening?
from Springdale,
record.
but we interviewed her for the math specialist job here. She walked out of the room, and I looked at Gerald, and I've told Kathy this. I looked at Gerald and I said, she's a leader. We have to hire her.
Yeah.
Right.
So you need to get on the phone to the school district that is trying to hire her husband
Yeah.
and make sure they hire him
Yeah.
because we need
Because
her here.
we need her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So as far as if you had to highlight, let's say top 3 things here, what would it be that you guys got going on? Something that you're really proud of.
Well, I think one of the things is the early childhood leads program. I think
Right.
they've done a really good job reaching out to the early childhood centers and educating people. And our enrollment has increased, I think, 30 some odd students from
Oh, wow.
last year
That is
That's
good.
really
in
good.
early childhood.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
it's impossible to find a direct correlation, but student numbers are dropping in the early grades.
Yep.
So I really attribute that to the work
Yeah.
that they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and they have their, I think it's quarterly meetings, like at 5:30 up here,
Right.
and they are packed with child care providers from
Oh,
that's
all
awesome.
over the
Really
area.
good.
Yeah.
Like they come, and I mean, I've attended a couple of them, and they're really good. They do some trainings, and
Yeah,
they
that's
share
good.
and talk about what's going on. Anyway, it's really good. I think
Yeah.
it's-
And I was a little, I don't know if skeptical is the right word, but I guess just didn't know about
Didn't
that
know, yeah.
that's
program
exactly what
when
I
it
was.
rolled out. But like you're saying, with the mom and pops, even that we call them, that aren't
Yes.
necessarily affiliated with districts.
Yes.
I just think it's good to pull those people
Yep.
in, and everybody's
And
know,
get
Yeah.
those resources to them
Yeah.
too. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
Well,
And with the early childhood professional learning grant that is out there now that we're pursuing, that kind of goes hand in hand with the early childhood leads.
right.
And I'm really thinking that all of this is going to fit together in the end.
Yeah.
The puzzle pieces will go together
Yeah.
in the end. So
Yeah. So what else? What's something else?
I can go one more if you want to think.
You go right.
You're going to
ahead.
have to do at least one. Okay, so Act 919, we're kind of dealing with the effects of that right now, but that's the act that allows isolated schools to separate
Right.
from school districts. So we have 2 schools that have gotten enough petition signatures to move forward with that. There will be elections in March. So we're kind of learning through that process
Right.
and trying to figure out exactly how all of this is going to work, because we're assuming that we'll go from 16 to 18 districts next year when all of this process works out and works through. But it's been really interesting. We have a meeting actually Thursday morning with one of the schools. They're bringing the prospective superintendent that they're going to hire as soon as all of this happens. So, trying to get the timing of all of this out of, we got our signatures, we'll have our election in March. Then where does the millage increase? When do you address that? When is the LEA assigned? When are you assigned to a co-op? All of those things. It's really going to be an interesting process to work through when all of this is happening. And Rural Special in Timbo, are the two districts that
Okay.
are that are separating from Mountain View, and the amazing thing is that it's agreed upon by Mountain
Yeah.
View and them.
Right.
So
just
they're
a
all
joint
working
decision.
closely together
Yeah.
and cooperatively to make
yeah.
all this happen. So we early on, Kathy didn't want to, but because she knew it was going to be more work for her. But it was like we've got to be a part of this process.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want to learn through this process and see how this works. So
Well, and that's interesting. I mean, I've talked to a few folks that the possibilities there, but they're not this far along. And I think that's kind of an interesting turn of events, you know, because they were taken in at one time, and now they're wanting that autonomy to stand on their own again. And I mean, that speaks volumes for the community to get
Yes.
behind that. And I think that's, you know, that's something that's kind of cool to see is with that act, some of these communities stepping up and taking ownership again. And,
Right.
and so hopefully they'll stay with the district and continue that support.
Right, and we've met great people for, you know, representatives from Rural Special, Tambo and Mountain View, of course, but great people working together, doing what's best for kids, and that's
right.
what it's all about.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, in their area. Okay, Kathy, you're on the hot seat. So
Well, what I think of when I think of great, and I mean, every co-op in the state is doing it, but the beginning principal and superintendent mentoring,
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
a good
it's
one,
going really well
Yes,
because
I would agree.
we have four superintendents and 4 principals, but the amount of communication that has started happening between like the superintendents and the principals, just the collaboration of even when we're not having the meetings or we're going in,
Right.
they're talking and they're learning from each other, and they're I just feel like it's going to be a good thing. The things we're trying to do with them are what they need. It's not
yes.
just a cookie cutter.
Yes.
Not that that's what they had before. I really don't know because
Yeah.
it's been a while.
well,
Yeah.
and it's interesting you say that. On the way out, took a phone call from one of the universities right there by us, and they have a MAT program, and they're kind of fast tracking some administrators. And she said she had a student the other day. I say student, you know, a principal working on that, just broke down in class and said, "This is just so overwhelming."
Yeah.
And she was like, "I mean, you know, what can we do?" And that was what I told her. I alluded to that. I said, you know, right now the cool thing for us is the ability to push in.
Yeah.
And you know, like I know with the principals that like Candace has gone out a couple of brand new ones and spent an entire day with them. Because it is overwhelming to see this list of stuff
It
I've got to
is.
get done. But if for Candace to sit down and say, look, been there, done that, been
Yeah.
there, done that, you know, take this, this is your priority, that can be bumped
Yeah.
down kind of thing.
You can't do it all in one year. You're just
Yeah.
that first year. You're just not going to
Just
be able
to know
to.
they have that local
Yeah.
person.
Oh
that
yeah,
can-
absolutely.
Yes, and you just you build the connections and the relationships, and then
Yes.
they can text or call if
Yes.
they need
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing though. I think the individualized,
right.
although it's a great program, but we're able to meet them
Yes.
where they're at. These
Yes.
individual principals, these individual superintendents with
Yeah.
individual needs.
and they feel comfortable.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
But
Yes,
I
I
would
love it.
agree. That's probably you know, one of the best things we've done in a while. Had the opportunity,
Yeah.
and so we don't take it lightly. Obviously, you know, I'm going to be meeting with our superintendents. We've kind of they've got their mentors or whatever, but we're going to be meeting with them coming up soon at a board meeting too. And you know, just to lean in, even with the experienced guys that we have,
Yes.
like month to month, that has a strong suit, whether it's budgeting, you know, parent teacher, you know, anything. They
Yes.
come in and share their expertise, and they're willing to do that. They remember what that was
Yes.
like. So
And there's so many things. That's 3 things that pop in your head. But if you think about, you know, master and lead teacher
Right.
designations and RPEP and our early childhood program and all the things we do for career and technical. I mean,
Yeah.
there are people have no idea. I worked here
yeah,
as
Yeah.
With ADE, and I had
Yeah.
no idea.
You don't
I had no
don't,
idea
yeah.
how much co-ops do.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, we've had pressure from legislation or threats of legislation for the past forever.
right.
But I think we have done, and that's why I really like this. I think we've done a poor job as a group in telling our story.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you
and
just
what
do
we
your
actually do.
you roll your
And
sleeves up and you go to work and you do your
We really
job.
do.
You
And
know, and you don't.
Dawson
yeah.
has taken a step in the right huge step in the right direction with the public relations and having somebody that gets out there and tells our story before somebody else tells it for us.
Yeah, well, and how, and I was on the board at Dawson for 9 years before I took the job, and one of the things, I mean, we're all living it. I mean, you don't know what all they do until you get in there.
No, you don't.
And and it's the adaptability too of co-ops to be able to kind of change and run on the fly. I mean, like this year, I mean, we're doing early childhood with Leeds with a county that we have one school in, but one that's not necessarily in our co-op. But this is our first infant and toddler, and it's been a pretty good experience so far. But I think as we roll through that, other districts have eyeballs on that and want to see, is it working? What's that look like? And like I say, knock on wood, so far so good. But again, if there's a need, that's, and I will say this is my 10th year as a co-op director. I more so now than ever, I feel like it is genuinely a partnership across the state with everybody. It wasn't necessarily always that way when I first got in there, but I think, and to me, that's one of the best things that came out of COVID. We saw that we need each other, and I think
better together.
Yeah, and we have set an example, I think, for other entities, whether that be the department, whether that be some of the constituent groups that folks belong to, and the districts. I mean, there's no way you can do all this heavy lifting on your own.
Right.
Yeah, it's just nice to know we can pick up the phone and call her. Or she can pick up the phone and call me, or whatever with any of us.
Right.
I benefit from just the emails that somebody says, "Hey, I've run across this.
Yes.
Have y'all done this?"
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's nice.
And that's the other thing I think everybody has. I mean, they have varied levels of experience and connections across the state. Whereas, like if we don't know an answer, we know you guys know somebody that can help us out. We'll give you a call and get that figured out.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
But it's and I tell you the thing I love about it, it's never the same thing 2 days in a row.
Not.
It's not
2 hours in a row.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, but and that's the thing I think that really keeps me coming back is that challenge. You know what I'm saying? And never a dull moment. That's for sure.
That's right.
And I love the opportunity to go out into the districts. We're fortunate, Arkadelphia there. We have a pre-K 5 minutes. From the office. So if I really need to get a kid fix, I'll go down there, get them charged up, and leave.
Yes.
Yeah. So. But
Yeah, it's funny. Earlier you were talking about you were in radiology because my daughter's a rad tech.
Yeah.
And of
Did
course
y'all hear that? Rad tech.
Rad tech.
tech. That's what I was. Radiologic
technologist. There you go. It's easier for me to say rad
well,
tech.
I was
Darren,
just
okay?
rad.
Yeah.
I was in radio. So yeah.
But yeah, when she started going to school and she's leaning that way or whatever, I was like, "You sure you don't want to be a teacher?" She's like, "Absolutely not." She just doesn't have that calling, and I do feel like it's a calling.
I do too, and I really didn't.
Yeah.
I had never thought about it,
Yeah.
but I did like it. I mean, my niche was the 10th graders that nobody else wanted.
Yeah.
But I loved them.
I know.
Until Christmas, they were really hard, but you saw them growing up around Christmas.
Yeah.
But nobody wanted those 10th graders in math.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I did, and I thought, okay, maybe this is where I was supposed
Well,
to be.
and that was me in middle school as an administrator. I mean, middle schoolers don't like anything, right? Each other, themselves at some point. And, but the biggest blessing probably that I had was at Lakeside. I spent 3 years with them at the middle school, and then got to catch back up with them 2 years in the high school. And it was really cool, like you're saying, to see that maturation process with these kids and grown into young men and young women. For the most part, some of them didn't quite hit the curve, but for the most part, I think it was. It's kind of a cool thing to do. So, but definitely a calling, no doubt about it. And I'll pose this question to y'all because it was posed to us again from the one of the universities this morning is how do we get kids interested in education because the pipeline is starting to slow down a little bit again.
We need the Lord to start calling some more quickly.
That's right. That's right.
I think one thing that we've started moving in the direction of, and I don't know how we get this out, but teacher retirement's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
And I know it's hard to get kids to think to the future, but I think if more people realized when they first got into education the gold mine that they have sitting there for them, in
Yes.
28 years or 30 years or whatever that may be, that I think we could keep more people in education
Right.
Right.
if they just knew that.
I've had
So-
conversations with some younger teachers about that. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
even when I started teaching, I had older teachers that said you were going to contribute. That's
Yeah.
so when
That
you
was
could
my
contribute
college
or not.
professor said you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to contribute.
So-
And I
That
didn't
was
really
all I knew.
understand
Yeah.
it.
I didn't
like,
either.
but if I had somebody that like sat down with me and said, okay, yeah, this is what you're looking at after 28 years. I mean, it would be
Right.
like eye opening. Like, wow.
Yeah.
So we started bringing in financial advisors
Mm-hmm.
to our novice program to speak
Ah.
to novice teachers in their first year novices about this is how teacher retirement works.
That's a good idea.
Not necessarily to try to sell something, but to try to, and they
Just
can make
to
their
show
pitch.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can make their pitch, but they can show
Mm-hmm.
them this is what it looks like. This is what you will have at the end of 28
Mm-hmm.
years. And if you want to add a little to it, you can do an annuity or you can do whatever.
Yeah.
But we've tried to
Yep.
bring those in
That's
early
a great
on.
plan.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Well, I
that.
liked it because I never looked at it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know. I didn't
I
do it
played
for a
around
long
with it.
time.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, we've gotten close. You know, Candace and I, we went over, I don't know, a year or so ago and looked at it.
I know.
and,
I'm like, oh,
yeah.
a little
She-
early
yeah,
sounds better
yeah,
to me.
she's threatening to go a little early on me. So we had a pact. but
We
yeah,
did, but I'm like,
yeah.
oh man,
She's
Derek.
like,
Hey.
so,
I'm like,
deuces, sucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that pack
Yeah.
doesn't mean
Yeah.
anything
No,
when
no.
it comes down to it.
What pact? What
No.
pact is that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But that's the thing,
Yeah.
you know, I think sometimes we are our own worst enemy. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
growl about stuff, but again, it's a great profession. I
It
tell
is.
people
Oh
it's
yeah.
I mean, it's an incredible responsibility, but man, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
I
want to
mean,
make a
it's-
difference.
yeah,
You know, that's the
absolutely.
cliche, but you legit can make a
You know,
difference.
I don't know why, but I was thinking, you know, when you get ready in the morning, you think about whatever.
Uh-huh.
But I was thinking about education and like, it's probably one of the most physically and mentally challenging jobs
Oh,
of any
100%.
that I can think of, and people do not realize.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's rewarding too if you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I don't.
And those
know.
little small rewards, you know, when
Yeah.
you see the kids succeed or whatever, it just
Yeah.
fuels you and it keeps you
Yes.
going.
When I
does.
first became a assistant middle school principal, my principal told me, she said, "Look, I want you to listen to me about a couple of things." I said, "Okay." She said, "How you sleeping?" I said, "Well, I sleep pretty good." She goes, "That's good. That means you're making decisions, hopefully with your heart, not your head all the time." I said, "Okay, good." And then second of all, she goes, "This is not the manliest thing you'll ever do," but she said, "Start a feel-good file." And I was like, "What?" But, you know, through the years, I'm a big journaler, so I write stuff down, those kinds of things. But keeping notes from teachers, from kids, and all that stuff, and to go back and look at it, and the difference, like you're saying, that you made, it's. I mean, you don't think about
Yeah.
it. I think about, you know, in the beginning, I said this: if I touch one kid, you know, I'll feel like
Yeah.
I've accomplished something. But man,
Yep.
been
Yep.
blessed well beyond that measure. So
Mhm.
I can remember one of the first times, you know, living out in the country in Jesseville like I do. I was out checking the mail at the highway. Hear a truck go zooming by, and it was a kid. Came back, did a big U-turn. He said, "Hey, Coach," he said, "I know I've been a turd and you know, was not a modeled kid by any stretch and pushed y'all, but," he said, "you never gave up on me." And he said, "I want you to know you're going to be one of the first to know I signed up going to join the Marines." And I was like, "Wow, that'll be great for you." you know.
Yeah.
But that was, and I was
Is
hooked
it-
at that point,
yeah.
you know.
Yes.
So.
Oh my gosh.
And we've all
yeah.
got stories like that, probably.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things I've liked about the change in direction of co-ops is that we are becoming more involved down to the student level,
Yes.
and we weren't in the past.
Right.
And I really
Right.
like that transition. I
Yeah.
really like that we're becoming more involved. And
Right.
yeah, there's more responsibility and there's more accountability, but I tell them all the time when I give her something to do, I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
we're not afraid of
At
accountability.
least he admits
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, we're not afraid of
Yeah.
accountability, Kathy.
Yeah.
So go for it. Go forth and conquer.
Yeah.
Don't mess up, but
Yeah.
go forth and conquer.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's something, that, you know, has been part of the conversation for co-ops, especially in the last couple of years, has been, you know, some form or fashion of accountability. But again, here's the thing: we're doing the work. We're doing great
Exactly.
work.
Exactly.
So, you know, I have no problem with that.
No.
Right. No.
You know, and like I say, across the board, you know, co-ops are pretty solid in the state of Arkansas.
Yes.
And I feel with, you know, lots of great folks.
Mhm.
So I mean, we've all been in a little bit. Kathy, how long you been in education now?
4 years.
Okay, so
see,
plenty of time to
yeah.
answer this next question. The old embarrassing story. What's an embarrassing thing, a story perhaps, that happened
Embarrassing
to you
moment?
or with a kid, you know? Candace has a great example.
Yeah, we've told that one way too much.
Yeah, but
I sat in
still.
chocolate.
Oh.
White pants.
Well, I didn't have white
Wow.
pants, but the kids were like, "Miss Bennis, you got something on the back of your pants." I'm like, "Oh, it's fine," and I'm just teaching away, you know. And my co-teacher, we had a couple co-teach classes. Well, she just happened to pop in and ask me a question, and I was like, "Hey, I got something on my pants," and she was like, the kids were like, and she goes, and I was like, "What?" So she goes, "I'll watch your class." So run to the bathroom. I was like, "Good grief! I have to take my pants off." And get like it was like chocolate, you know, because I'm sitting here, y'all know, I'm like moving the whole time,
Yeah.
ADHD probably. Anyway, so I get back in there. Now the pants are soaking wet. Okay, the whole back. So I walk in. I'm like, all right, get it over with. I turn around because I'm teaching 8th and 9th graders.
Yes.
It was 8th graders, I think, at the time, and they were just like dying laughing. I was like, okay, back to work, and then they just like didn't even mention it again. You know, so it's like I
Well,
could laugh
did they
about
believe
it.
it was chocolate?
Yes, they
Oh,
knew
okay.
it was because
So
we had
it
just
worked.
had just had a like a
that's
pot. It
funny.
wasn't a potluck, but they had
Yeah.
something for us at lunch, and it's just like, oh my gosh. But I mean, I was always like, I joked around with one of the history teachers. We had pranks going back and forth, and
Yes.
he like hid a cell phone in the ceiling tile, and it was above Hayden Bowling's desk, and I was like, the phone goes off, and I'm like, give me the phone, and they're like, we don't have a phone, and I'm like, Hayden, you better give me that phone, and because it was right at his desk, and do I need to go get Miss Blagg? And little Babs Blagg, she's awesome, and they were like, no, Mr. Bullhose is at the door, because they knew they were in on it, and I was like, so I opened the door, and he's laughing, and I was like, oh my gosh, go get your dang phone. It was hysterical. And so I saw Hayden. He was like on duty in Malvern. I don't remember where I was, and he came up. He goes, you remember the cell phone? I'm like, yes, I remember the cell
And
phone.
now he's a cop. He could throw it
Yeah,
back on
he
you.
he is. Yeah. It was awesome. So
That's
we
funny.
did fun stuff like that all the time. We worked hard, but we also had fun. Same with the co-op. We're going to work really hard, but we're
Yes.
going to have fun.
That's
so
right.
you got to laugh. If not, you can't be too
So
serious.
story-wise, what do you got?
Yeah, I gave y'all plenty of time to be thinking about something. So
I mean, I said something inappropriate to 9th graders.
Well, that's got to be pretty bad for it to be inappropriate
It
to a
was.
9th grader.
Well, they're going to think everything's inappropriate.
right.
But okay, So I was putting them in groups, and 9th grade boys, they're just everything is
Yeah.
inappropriate.
Right.
And I wasn't thinking anything about it. And there were groups of 4. Well, there were 2 boys left and a girl. I said, "Y'all just go have a threesome," and
Yeah.
I just moved on, and everybody was dying laughing. I
Yeah.
thought, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
can't believe I just said that.
you know, math teachers, we got to watch our numbers. I'm not going to go
Yes.
there, but we got to
Right.
watch
Oh,
our numbers.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then, like, I
Yes.
wrote Rise Over Rum for Slope one day, and the kids were dying laughing. I said, yeah, y'all are driving me to thinking about drinking.
Yeah.
And then they just, I mean,
It
you
doesn't
just like,
matter what you say; they're
Yeah.
going to twist it. And I should have said a group of 3,
Yeah.
and that's what I said
Yeah.
from then on
Yeah.
out, the rest of my
Yeah.
career. But I was
do a
just,
threesome.
y'all have a threesome, and
Yeah.
Not with junior.
Yeah, 9th grade boys.
oh, they went and told their moms.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. They're like hormones in shoes. Is
Oh my
what they
gosh.
are.
Yeah,
and
it
you're
was-
telling the principal, FY, if you get a phone call.
I
Yeah.
did.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, she hand gestures to me at times when I tell her stuff. I mean, she's
Yeah.
like, so I'm not surprised at
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
I mean,
speaking of
That's happened.
inappropriate, yeah,
that's
that's right.
happened multiple times. So
You're making
She's
that
like,
up.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about,
No, I
Mark.
know what you're
Uh-huh.
talking
No,
about.
no.
yeah.
So what about you, Mark? You've got to have a story or two.
I've
To,
got a few stories. I guess I don't know that I ever had anything like that where I was
Right.
inappropriate with kids. I think.
Right. right.
No,
Um,
she just said something.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I think maybe an eye opener I had that was embarrassing was maybe my 5th year of teaching. So I would have been 20, I don't know, 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there. We had a faculty student basketball game,
Oh yeah.
and you think you're still young.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
and somebody threw a basketball or threw the ball, and I reached up to grab it, and and I know I tore my rotator cuff because there was like 6 months I couldn't raise my arm above my shoulder,
Yeah.
and I never talked about it. I never told. So I had to drive bus with one arm for about 3 months and this and that, and I thought never again.
Never am I
that
playing
that was my
basketball.
eye opener that I was
For sure.
I'm too old.
Well, in your
Yeah.
mind, you have this thing like I'm going to catch the ball, and about after it bounces off your chest, you're like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, mentally we're still in our 20s. I mean, you know.
Absolutely. I can do a back handspring.
Hey, I know.
Right.
I'm like, you know.
I'm not going to try it.
No.
I was going to say they're recording.
Yeah. Hey, I'll
In
push
my-
my chair back. Yeah.
In my mind, I can.
Yeah.
Oh,
Save it.
gosh.
Well, Candace was like, what'd you C-team, dance team, or something in 8th grade? So
I couldn't do back handsprings.
Oh.
Well, I did. Maybe at one point in time.
It's
I
all
took
that dang hair
gymnastics.
you had back
But we
then.
were at church not long ago, and they're like, "Do a cartwheel," and I'm like, "I'm 50 years old, 51 now." But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
it's like
I
I'll pass
was
out.
it was one of my last years at Harbor, but we had the senior high student council against faculty. It was supposed to be flag football,
Yeah.
but I wasn't going to play because I'm 50 and they're all
Yeah.
out there, and so they needed some defense because not very many teachers I
Right.
figured didn't want to play. So I said, I'll play defense. I just have to kind of stand there. And so this girl, I'd had her in 8th grade in math, but she was a senior, and she was a big, muscled up, not like fluffy. She was a big, muscled up 18-year-old girl, and we were winning. The teachers were winning, and she had the ball. You know, she was supposed to run by me and me grab the football, but I knew she was running past me. If they scored, they won. So I got right in front of her and blocked off the baseline.
Yeah.
And she plowed me over. I mean,
Did you get the
You're
flag?
lucky you didn't break anything.
she didn't make it in the end zone because she went out.
Oh,
So,
okay. There we go.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
That's
hurt.
I
In
bet
my
you
mind, I
hurt.
was 18. You know,
So,
I
so
was.
did you pop up and give her the old, yeah.
I popped up, and she was like, "I'm so sorry." I think
Yeah.
she thought she killed me, and I did too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah.
You're like,
Oh my
nothing's
God.
broken.
Yeah,
Oh
for
my
3
gosh.
weeks you're walking around.
Oh,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
never hurt so bad in my life.
Oh
But we
my
won.
gosh.
That was all that mattered. Was we won.
So, Mark, if you weren't in education, you would be.
Wow.
He's like,
That's a
let me
good
think.
question. I think early on, I was really interested in wildlife biology.
Gotcha.
That's what I was going to do. That's what I had in my mind. But I think probably, I think coaching probably
Yeah.
would have won out in the end. But that's really the only other thing that I have
Yeah.
considered outside of that.
Right. Well, Kathy, you kind of lived it, but was there anything
Yeah.
besides the 2 things you've done?
You know, I was one of those people, and I don't know why, but I really didn't think about what I wanted to do when I grew up until I grew up.
Yeah.
And I thought about pharmacy or
It's so funny.
Yeah, 2 math nerds, pharmacy.
I worked in a pharmacy.
I did too.
Yeah.
I worked in
Yeah.
a pharmacy.
This is so crazy.
I was going to do physical therapy at ASU. I applied to the program, and then they closed the program.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't.
Yep, meant to be.
Um,
Get you on that path to education
so-
eventually, huh?
Yeah, so I don't really. And, my thoughts were I was going to go into coaching, but, my parents kept saying don't do
Yeah.
education. But my natural thing would have been going into not teaching, just coaching.
Yeah, right.
So I hadn't really thought it through, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've said this many times, but this is 100% true. I'm actually not lying about this.
I'm anxious to hear it.
I
She's like, I can't wait.
have never, there's been days where things aren't going well or whatever in education, but in 28 and counting years, I have never not wanted to go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
loved my job.
Yeah.
I've loved what I'm doing. I have
Yeah.
never had another thought
Right.
of doing anything else. And I have buddies that I go to deer camp with who just hate their jobs. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I can't, that doesn't even compute with me.
Yeah, right.
So I think
Yeah.
I'm just fortunate to be in education.
Yeah, and for sure blessed. I mean, I knew what I was going to be. Radio was going to be my life. Started in high school on the air and did it for a while. But, getting in front of kids with Career Day, Red Ribbon Week, that old story about how, tell God your plans and he'll laugh. I mean, he blessed me, then laughed at me and said, okay, here's the door. But,
Yeah.
you know, looking back on it, you know, that skill set, and I'm sure you can relate, you know, when you had that other career, or some of the things that just morphed so smoothly into what we do today, you know, and so it's, but I wouldn't have changed it for anything, you know.
No, I wouldn't.
I would have been long retired by now, but less time with Candace, which that would have been a bonus. But
Like half of our
so-
career, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like,
over half probably we've
Yeah.
spent together in some level probably.
we said when we retire, we're the new director in TCC. We're just going to be like, you got to hire us to do the podcast. We'll do it for free.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
We'll do it for free. Just come visit and
So
get to meet everybody.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I did have a year where I dreaded going to work.
Yeah.
Just about every day. But it was my second year, and they needed somebody to teach all the seniors who had failed geometry and couldn't graduate
yeah.
without it. You know, I had 10th graders, so I had a class of 30
Yeah.
at 8th period,
Mm-hmm.
and they were all waiting until they turned 18 so they could drop out.
Yeah.
But
And you're trying to talk them
trying
into
to
not
get them
dropping
to
out.
do
And
geometry.
yeah.
And I did get to the point of where one of them said, you know, this is my last day, Miss Bowlin. I'm turned 18 this weekend, so and I didn't say good, but you know, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, oh, that's one less, and that's horrible.
Yeah.
But
It is.
Yeah, but
It
that's
is
re-
horrible, yeah.
But
That's
you try to
reality.
reach them. You try to reach them, and
do.
you try to not give
Yeah.
up, and you try to.
and
keep,
I
you
went
know.
back every day, and I worked as hard as I could. And some of them, you know, I still see them working at Pizza Hut or
Right,
you know whatever, and they most of them turned out to be decent people. But you know,
Yeah.
I would dread. I didn't dread going to work. I dreaded when lunch would get there. I'd start getting sick to my stomach, thinking, oh, how are
Yeah.
they going to be today? You know, a
Yeah.
lot of days it was just kind of.
Yeah, especially if you're a brand new teacher too. So you're
Yes.
year 2, and you're,
Yeah.
I was
you know,
brand
if you'd have
new.
been doing that at year 14,
Yes,
I
it would have
mean,
been totally different.
yeah,
But some
yeah.
days we just kind of, I went with the flow, whatever we.
yeah.
Yeah. We talked about life.
Well,
yeah.
we talked
Yeah.
about life.
Yeah.
And that brings up, you know, even her talking about year 2. That's just good to get. I mean, year 1 was very hard for me, and I had I
Yes.
was working with all my old teachers. It's
Uh-huh.
important to get people with
It
those
is-
novice,
it
just
is
to have a
very
connection
important.
that they
Yeah.
can, you know.
Because I really didn't have anybody then.
Yeah. And
And
see,
it
that
would have
makes
been
a
great to
difference.
have somebody
Yeah.
that said, you know what, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but those kind of experience, I think, make us better at what we do.
Oh, yeah.
Been
Yeah.
there, done that, and look,
Yes.
hey, that ain't nothing. Let me tell
Uh-huh.
you about this. You
Yes.
know,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
that's the thing. I'm kind of like you, Mark. I never ever have looked at, you know, even on my worst day as a superintendent, knowing the challenge that I may face or what have you. I never really had a bad day or have had a bad day. You know, I tell this story a lot, but I mean, we had a terrible thing happen at Fountain Lake. It was a inappropriate relationship with a teacher and a student. Of course, the TV stations don't say can we. They're saying we're on our way. So get through that and all that. Go home. Watching the news at 10, and my wife's like, well, how was it? I said, you know, I think okay, you know. And then when they popped up the story, there was this toothless neighbor that they talked to the teacher, and underneath it said Superintendent Darren Beckwith, Fountain Lake. So that taught me right then and there, you know, you got to take your job serious, but you can't take yourself too serious because nobody else is. I mean, I heard from people I literally thought were dead calling up, man, you had a rough day. You look terrible, kind of thing. And
So funny.
so, but yeah,
Oh
I
my
tell
gosh.
Kathy this, and I've told my wife this a lot when she was superintendent. And Gerald would say this over and over again to me: never too high, never too low. It's always somewhere in between. So don't get too high, don't get too down.
right.
It's never as bad as it seems,
Right.
Yeah.
but it's never as good as it seems
Yeah.
either.
That's right.
So you know you get too high on yourself, and
Yeah.
you're going to get brought down a
Yeah.
notch. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah,
and,
that's
and those highs tend to
advice.
last a whole lot less long than the lows. you
Yeah.
know, at times. So what do y'all do for fun? You said deer hunt. What else you do?
I've got a 10-year-old,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
so
yeah. You're
it's
busy. Yeah.
constant.
Yeah,
Yep, it's
gotcha.
every afternoon, every Saturday,
Yeah.
something going on. So
Yeah,
yep.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
What do I do for fun? I work with Mark.
yeah. There you go. There you go.
You can go home.
Yeah.
You can go home
You come home
at noon.
early.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I guess at this point in my life, we have my daughter and son-in-law live about 9 miles from us, and they have a 19-month-old.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Charlotte,
Sweet.
and so she's around a lot,
Sweet.
and
Yeah.
so that's pretty much
Charlotte. Yeah.
Charlotte.
You know what I'm finding? You know, I've got don't have grandkids yet. We've got one son and daughter-in-law, and you know that in the conversation, whatever. But what I'm seeing now is some of these old school
Oh,
names are
yes.
coming back. You know.
Yes.
So
And they're having another one in the next 2-3 weeks, and the names they've talked about for her.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm just thinking that's what I'm thinking is those people who were 90 when I was in high school had
Yeah.
those names.
Yeah.
He rotates it around, huh?
But we have grandkids in Denmark,
Oh, wow.
and then 2 in Tennessee. So
Mhm.
we.
Oh, yeah, you're busy
I love
traveling.
to travel, but
Yeah.
Right.
anyway,
That's
we
awesome.
like to
Yeah.
spend time with
That's awesome.
with
Alright.
them. But
Well, football season's kicked off.
mhm.
Got
Yeah.
favorite teams? Go Hogs.
Yeah, they burned me. You know, that's just I love them. But it's like an abusive relationship. I mean, it's just.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know.
I
I
mean,
love
they're,
it.
yeah, they're
Hey,
my favorite. But
Speaking of
Yeah.
highs and lows, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
We just
Yeah.
accept it, okay?
Yeah.
But we still like
They
the
they
Hogs.
averted
Yeah.
disaster
Yeah.
Yes,
this past
yes, they
weekend,
did.
and I would not have been surprised
Right.
otherwise. So anyway,
Oh,
they're
Yeah.
I always hope for the best and
We
prepare
all have
for the
high
worst.
hopes. We all have
Yeah.
high
Well,
hopes every year.
and I got to tell y'all this story. So, my son and daughter-in-law, they're graduates of the U of A. They live in Fayetteville. My bachelor's, I got at A-State in Jonesboro. So, of course, I'm, wolves up, ha-ha, And he said something, right, and I mean, he popped off something. I don't remember what it was, and then that's when they returned the kickoff for a touchdown. He said, "Oops." He said, "Maybe I spoke a little too soon."
He's
Obviously,
like-
he didn't. But
Yeah.
yeah, so,
He was like, I'm done
Right.
trash talking
Right.
until the end of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
But you
Okay.
know,
go ahead.
social media, people are just the Hogs are the best thing in the world, and the coach is the best thing in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he should be fired, and they're the worst.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like-
it is.
Yeah, I
It's
almost
crazy.
sometimes I almost feel bad. Then I look at what they're getting paid, and I'm like, yeah.
True.
They probably
yeah,
don't
That's
even.
true.
They probably
Yeah.
don't even look at it. They're
Yeah, that's
probably
true.
disciplined enough to be like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
exactly.
You know, they
So-
said the other day $500,000 a month was
Yeah.
was his paycheck, and I was like, I could put up with a lot
Oh,
Oh,
heck
yeah.
yeah.
for
Heck yeah.
$500,000 a
Heck
month.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good too.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
crazy.
Okay, so
Yeah.
last question: when you're in your vehicle driving, what are you singing to? What's on your playlist?
K-Love rolls in mine, and I got on that when I was in when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Just calming, just
Positive
brings
and
me down.
encouraging.
That's right.
Just
Yes.
really
Yes.
positive, encouraging. I
Yes.
really got into that, and I can. It's every morning for me on the way to work. That's what I listen to.
There are days I start out that way until somebody cuts me off and I call them something I probably
Yeah.
shouldn't. So and I feel guilty. Then I go right back to my playlist, which is all over the place.
Yeah, I have so many
So-
different stations that I flip around to in the
Right.
mornings. But if I'm having a bad day or whatever, just switch it over and get that attitude. Get like remember why you're here and
Yeah.
Yeah.
get over it. Get over yourself. Is what I tell myself.
So Kathy, what are you listening to?
I love some, but it depends on what area I'm in, whether it comes in. I've a Lauren Daigle playlist that I really like, and Zach Williams. And then if
Love Zach
Charlotte's with
Williams.
me, it's toddler tunes on you.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazon
Goodness.
Prime.
Yeah,
It's
gotcha.
hysterical because
Yeah.
we'll be at my mom's.
That'll make you want to drive off the road.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll be playing my phone, playing all the songs that I've got on my phone, and we'll be at my mom's in the pool. And, like Sarah and I'll be there, and Frozen comes on, and she looks at me
Yes.
like, "What is this?" I was like, "It was Jade and Cammy. They added it on my phone, and I just haven't deleted it." And
Yes.
I
one
mean,
of the Frozen
yeah.
songs.
I mean, I go hard with my music. I mean, it's loud, it's blasting, and I can remember one day at Fountain Lake I pulled in. I don't even remember what it was. It was, I don't know, because you opened the door, was laughing. It was
I don't.
Panama or
Yeah,
something.
it might have been Panama.
from
yeah.
Van
I
Halen
can't
and-
remember because
yeah.
I like me some Van Halen too. but-
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I come in rolling hot to the co-op. I mean, it is loud.
Yeah.
And it's all over the place. I love
Yeah.
me some country. obviously that's where I worked in the 90s. I was when it was the
Yes.
good stuff.
Yes, I like
And
country.
now that rolling back around kind of stuff.
You know,
Yeah.
I like Queen too.
Oh, yeah.
I do like
See,
a lot
we
of
were thinking
Queen.
about all the halftime shows or whatever. I think they should get Nelly to do the halftime show. See, I know. I mean, I love Nelly.
The only
He
thing
would
about
be
Ne-
so good. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I know he's
Yeah.
old, but it would be so good.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be so good.
Let me give you some advice who not to listen to. That's Machine Gun Kelly. If you
Katie
haven't,
Katie likes Machine Gun
if
Kelly.
you've not listened, do yourself a
haven't.
favor
I
and
haven't.
don't.
He's not.
Oh,
It's good. I like it. Which I
Oh.
like all kinds of the stuff. So
yeah.
you know.
She always says.
Look, Michael's like, it's not good. It's
She's
not
always
good.
like, "Hey, have you heard his new song?" And it's a remake that somebody else has done that he's butchered. It's terrible.
Okay, but Michael, we're not going to talk about like some of the stuff you listen to. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, anyway, some of it's okay. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's what
all
makes the
I'll
world spin around, I guess.
That's
is
right.
Everybody has something different.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
thank
right.
y'all. It's been great. Appreciate the
Yes,
invite.
we've enjoyed it.
Great things going on up here,
Yeah.
and going into the future, like I said, I think you said it earlier, is just that adaptability for us, and
Yeah.
ready, willing, and they're not going to accuse co-ops of not giving it a try, right?
No,
Yeah.
we're not.
Yep.
And we talk about failing forward a lot. There's a lot of things we do. Hey, that didn't work out. Why? What did we learn? Let's go. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
But keep up the great work. Again, we
Yes.
appreciate it.
You too.
40 years of. Do you feel 40 years? I don't feel 40 years.
No.
Do you? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
way
not at
past
all.
40. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
and I say this a lot too. Although we student talk together, my hair is completely white because I've been around her half my dang career. I don't know. I don't know.
No,
I don't
that's
know
not
what
true.
that's.
I tell you before we leave, the perspective does change when you pass that 28th year.
Oh yeah.
I know.
It is a whole lot different.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
It really is.
Yeah,
It-
this is year 30 for us. So we
Yes.
had that conversation on the
Uh-huh.
daily some
Uh-huh.
weeks. So
I mean,
yeah.
look. I mean, don't get me wrong. Love my job. Love the 30 years. But
Yes.
like the thought of being like,
yeah.
yeah, I could just be like chill and go travel.
There's a lot of things
Yeah.
you'll
Decide if I
be
wanna get
in
up
your
early or
life.
not.
No.
Chill ain't
Yeah,
one
I
of them.
I can chill.
Chill ain't one
I
of
can.
them.
I know
No
people
way.
at work do not believe it, but I
Yeah.
like go home. I sat on the couch and watched the NFL game for 3 hours yesterday.
Yeah, but you're probably doing some kind of formula in
No,
your head trying
no
to see who's going to
formulas.
win or
no
whatever.
formulas.
Yeah.
Just watching the game.
So,
Watching the
yeah.
game.
Well, again, thank y'all. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And keep up the great work. And that will do it for this episode of Spilling the Tea in Studio D.